live button.
Oh no.
Oh crap.
I'm not sure I agreed to that.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't remember signing my name to anything there.
Well, luckily, Tennessee is a single person consent for recording state, so
that figures.
Yeah. I really can't. I can't say much. New Hampshire still doesn't require motorcycle helmets, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
A cop once told me that the only difference between a motorcycle helmet law and one without is that when you wreck, when you have a helmet on, the brains stay in the helmet.
right. It's easier cleanup.
Yeah, it's less traumatizing to those who witness it.
Right.
But otherwise, you're leaving skid on the highway. Who are we?
Oh
kidding?
yeah.
Oh man. All right, so Kurt, we need what are you nerding out about? But we've got everything else filled out.
Okay, yeah, I'm just pulling up the spreadsheet now. Why is it nerdy? Let's see. Oh, the first tab that I see shows the Adam Project, and I'm going,
Ooh.
how old is this tab?
Which tab is that one? I don't even
Watch along.
Okay, because it is, that is the first tab in the list. Yeah, we were brainstorming ideas for shows that we could do a watch along with. We need to do another watch along. It's been since November.
Those are fun. I watched the Adam Project on the elliptical machine. That's how I got through that one. It's good. I enjoyed it.
It is a good one.
I enjoyed it too. Look, it doesn't have to be a deep movie for me to have some enjoyment out of it.
No, the older I get, the less snooty I am about my movie watching.
Yeah.
I watched Dora and the Lost Kingdom, and I was like, "This movie's legit." Like,
I watched it as well, and this is with I had a kid who loved Dora when they were young. So, so I had it all in my head, just like I'm the map. Yeah. And
swipe or no swipey.
Right. And then I saw the movie and I went, oh, they did a really nice job, not only poking fun of themselves, but just having fun.
Oh, yeah.
So I had no complaints about it. It was better than it should have been.
Absolutely. I was laughing. I went home and told my wife after me and my son went and saw it at the theater. I was like, that was great. And I would go walk right back in the theater and watch it again.
Yeah.
It was so good.
All right. Well, should we get this party started?
Sure.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, I do have a request.
Yeah.
No dad jokes tonight. Completely for Charles's benefit.
Watch out.
No, so I don't know how much you listen, but Charles hates bad dad jokes. And so Joe and I make a point of making sure it's in every single show.
Well, and we're going to save them for next time, but DevoSite called in 4 in the last week.
Awesome.
So,
that's great.
Yes.
So, all right, here we go.
Get ready to laugh out loud with Wise and Nerdy, the show hosted by two hilarious dads who are bringing their unique blend of wit, wisdom, and nerdiness to the airwaves. From sharing hilarious anecdotes about their own experiences to giving advice on navigating the ups and downs of life, these two dads have got you covered. But that's not all. They're also obsessed with all things nerdy, from comic books and sci-fi movies to video and board games. So whether you're a fellow dad, a pop culture fanatic, or just in need of a good laugh, tune in to Wise and Nerdy and join in the fun.
All right, and welcome to a Charles list, Wise and Nerdy. So we can be a little bit more wise and a little bit more nerdy and a little less boisterous.
A little less Charles.
A little less Charles.
Those wonderful voices that you hear is the one, the only VO by Kurt, who is here all the time, steady as a Clydesdale.
All right, that's
Not sure how I feel about that.
And joining us is Steven, aka Charles 2.0.
Yeah, I've evolved. I'm the evolution. If Charles is a Charmander and I'm a Charizard, we've moved on. Yes, hello everyone. I'm Steven. I'm radioing in from a distant land of a different Twitch channel, but I'm happy to be here. So thank you for having me.
Steven, the Titan of podcasting instead of the rock god.
Oh yeah, yes. I'm the smooth jazz god of podcasting. Much more even keeled, not as high energy. You know, let's relax and ease into our weekend, everybody.
The Zeus of yacht rock.
That's what I'm talking about. Kurt knows what's up.
Oh man. All right. Well, let's see. What do we got here?
It's the question of the week.
So you're just gonna play all of my bumpers tonight because you're in control?
Hey, it's random.
I really like how
might be.
Kurt did that without moving his mouth. That's amazing.
Well, ironically, sometimes I do move my mouth.
Okay. You do your own voiceover.
So the question this week comes to us from Steven. What is the strangest food you've ever had that you ended up liking?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
That on paper it should not work, but it did. So Steven, what do you got?
Yeah, I can run away with this one for a second. So a few weeks ago, a friend of mine proposed a sandwich that sounds like it came straight from the mouth of hell. Like it's not a sandwich you should eat, you should have in your mouth. And that was an egg and peanut butter sandwich. A protein monstrosity. And I looked it right in the eye and I said, no, that is not acceptable. As a human being, like you should not put something like that in your mouth. And he got another friend to try. He said, just do it at lunch. So another buddy of mine tried it. He said, I'm not going to lie. It was pretty good. And I was like, nonsense. You're in this together. What is wrong? So today I had no food at the house other than eggs. And I had some peanut butter. And I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to put this thing together. So I toasted the bread. I kind of scrambled up an egg. I put the peanut butter on the bread first, and then I put the egg on there, and then I made a sandwich. I bit into it, and I swear I stared out the window for a good 2 minutes while chewing, just going, well, holy crap, that's actually not only edible, but delicious. It was the dumbest. I was so mad. I was like, wow, I've been hammering him about this sandwich for 2 weeks, and now I got to walk in there and be like, all right, you're right. It's delicious.
You threw me because I wasn't sure if you're going to go runny yolk or not.
Oh, no, I don't think I could go that far. I think you're going to have to fried hard or scrambled, something with no juice.
Huh. That's weird.
Yeah.
What about you, Joe? What you got?
So first, I'm going to comment on something similar that my dad used to eat, but substitute the egg for bacon.
I mean, come on, dude.
He used to have bacon and peanut butter sandwiches.
Look, I think I've had a bacon and peanut butter sandwich. I mean, how could that be bad? Like,
and if we didn't have bacon in the house, he'd fry up some bologna and have bologna and peanut butter. But
I could buy the bacon. Yeah, the bologna's a little.
It does get saved a little bit by frying it up.
Yes,
but the bologna's a little weird.
For me, one of the weirdest things, I was at someone's house and they were for dinner. They were feeding me dinner, and they had cooked this amazing venison chili. Okay, and that's great,
right?
Yeah.
A side dish that they expected you to dip into the chili was cinnamon rolls. Cinnamon rolls dipped in the chili. Apparently, it's a thing in the Midwest.
Oh, is this another one weird like Cincinnati chili on spaghetti thing?
Yeah, something like that. But apparently, it's a thing, and I guess for them, the story was that the local school, whenever it was chili day, always had cinnamon rolls for the dessert, and the kids would dip it. And so it became a thing in their house as well. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't, I would prefer them separate, but it wasn't bad together.
Would you do it twice?
I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah, and that first kid who dumped his cinnamon roll in the chili did it accidentally and was trying to save face, and just like went, "No, guys, really, this tastes great."
I totally think you do that. It's like the pizza and corn people, like
Exactly.
put corn on my pizza.
Yeah,
Weirdos.
No.
So I've got actually, I think I've got two. Ooh. And one of them is from years and years ago when it's not strange, but it's strange that it tasted good to me. And years and years ago, I worked a summer job, and I went to lunch with the guy I was working with, and he said, "You got to try this." All it was an anchovy pizza.
Okay.
All right. And anchovies have always been the butt of the pizza joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I tried it and I went, "Oh my God, I really like this. I really like it a lot." Now, and I still do. I still really, really enjoy an anchovy pizza, but not cold.
I can imagine that would suck.
Terrible.
Cold fish is not something you want to eat in general. Yeah.
Right. But the more recent one where I had gotten I got a different food and I went, this can't be good. Like, and it was you've seen those pre-made tuna packets in the grocery store, right? The Starkist stuff. They have one that's Thai chili flavored. And I went, "Oh, come on, man. Like, I know you're trying here, but there's no way this can be good." It might be the best flavor they have.
Holy cow.
It works like literally as I was eating it, I'm going, "This should not be good." Like it doesn't make any sense. But turns out I'm thinking that Thai chili makes everything better.
It's probably true. I bet Thai chili and a cinnamon bun is pretty dang great.
With some bacon.
Bacon and an egg.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. We've got one in chat here from Random Kid.
Yep.
It says, "My brother used to dip bread in hot chocolate. And as a follow-up, he would suck the hot chocolate out of the soggy bread. And then I assume eat it. Eat the bread."
Or would he double dip with the bread after he sucked the hot chocolate out of it? Because that's gross.
Yeah. He had me in the first half, I'm not going to lie. But that second...
Look, bread to soak up hot chocolate, it can't be bad. It's just chocolate.
Just soggy chocolate bread.
No, bread should not be soggy in any like you can solidify bread. Stuffing's a thing,
right?
But soggy bread, like maybe if it was like a French, like a baguette, like something that holds its
harder bread, or a hearty like multi.
Would it absorb the hot chocolate though? If it was
sure, that's what French dips do. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay.
It's a French dip, but hot chocolate. It's like a North Pole dip.
Yeah, North Pole dip. You coined a new sandwich.
We've got it.
Yeah,
it's the reindeer French dip.
Reindeer
dipped in hot chocolate au jus.
Yeah, with cinnamon and stick in it.
Oh,
be great,
man.
Little peanut butter and egg with hot chocolate.
Oh man, we've made a delicious last meal for somebody here.
Because they'll die from food poisoning?
Yeah. You know what I've never had that I just love to eat?
Nope. Vegemite.
Yeah, you can keep that, Australia.
I think it's probably one of those acquired tastes that you either hate it or you love it type of thing.
Yeah, it's like fried okra, unless you were born eating fried okra, you look at it and go, no, that's disgusting.
Scrapple. I don't know if either of you have ever even heard of Scrapple. Okay.
I've heard of Scrapple. I haven't tried it, but I would.
So
I would try it.
For those in our audience that have never heard of Scrapple, it is basically a breakfast sausage spam. Mm-hmm. Basically. And it's square. You slice it up, you fry it up, and you eat it. My dad used to love it with an over easy egg and then tossed on toast. But
doesn't sound bad.
It was okay. I preferred just, normal bacon or sausage, but, scrapple was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and
roll that dice.
Stupid Mike.
What are you nerding out about now?
All right. Steven, what are you nerding out about?
Yeah, I've had a nerdy couple weeks. So I'm in IT, you're in IT, Kurt, you're in IT, everybody's in IT. So like everybody.
The IT cast.
There's one of the things I've been nerding about, which is more or less been forced on me, is AI models. Now, I don't know if everyone in the audience is familiar, but AI is a thing. It's not going
Not just
anywhere.
a crappy Spielberg movie.
No, it's a real thing. Oh, David the robot. So I've been our company's kind of pushing like, hey, we should get familiar with AI, and I was not having it. I said, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. What are we supposed to build? Blah, blah, blah. Went through a couple of training classes, and I went, all right, I hated it. Now I'm curious. So I have been playing around with a bunch of local AI models on my machine because I got the big old GPU. Not big, it's like 3 years old, but it's doing the job, and I'm having a really good time figuring out how to work AIs, how to talk to these different models and stuff. Been really nerdy. That is less. You can probably relate to it less, some of your audience members, than this other thing I've been nerdy about, which is 3D printing. And this, I have something to show you. That I'm really excited about in the 3D printing realm. And one day I'll tie the AI and the 3D printing together. But for now, we're just going to 3D print. I've had this thing for a year.
I wonder, real quick, I wonder if, because you can have AI artwork.
Sure.
I wonder if you can have an AI generate a 3D model, an STL file in the future for 3D printing something.
Maybe. I mean, you'd have to train it on things that actually printed successfully and hope that it didn't create spaghetti.
Right.
Which has been my experience.
Or Will Smith eating spaghetti.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, everyone remembers that. We've come a long way, Joe. We've come a long way. But so I've had this thing for like a year. I printed a few things. I was like, this takes forever, and everything screws up. But I got more interested. Somebody was showing me some tips. They're like, you got to level your platform properly. You got to do all this stuff. So I bought like a feeler gauge to make sure I had the nozzle just the right distance from the thing. Anyway, and I also learned about something for storage and organization. This is a honeycomb storage system. So think of it like pegboard.
Yeah.
But this goes on the wall, and then little accessories can poke in these holes and they clip in. Like you can put shelves, you can have tool holders, you can have anything you can imagine that can clip inside these standard sized hexagonal holes. So I'm working on building a bunch of these so I can put on my wall, and I got a new organization system. And this is the first one I've been able to actually get print successfully today from bottom to top. And I'm learning a little bit every day, and it's an absolute blast. This one I think is just called honeycomb shelves or something on printables. But there's another one called Gridfinity, which has a lot of hype. That's like a grid system for putting in drawers. So it's a perfectly sized or standardized grid system, and you print little boxes that fit in those grids. So you put the little grid platform in your drawer, and then you kind of Tetris organizational boxes in the grid. It's really flippin' sweet, but it takes forever because my printer took like 6 hours to print this.
Yes.
Which
and
is
what
the
kind
one
of printer
drawback.
do you have?
It's the Ender Creality Ender V2.
Okay, you've got the newer version. I've got the first version.
Oh, okay, so. Yeah. And I tell you, like, if I print enough stuff, I could see investing in a faster printer with some more bells and whistles.
Oh yeah. I saw a video today about one from Prusa that has 5 nozzles on it, so that you can print in multiple colors. And yeah, that looked pretty dang sweet.
Yeah, it's a different world than it was 10 years ago. Like, they got them now. This one does 50 millimeters a second, which is pretty, it's decent clip. But there's others that do 250 millimeters a second because it's got like vibration cancellation and stuff. It uses the vibration of the machines that flies across the board to like stop at the right spot. It's wild. Anyway, I've been having a blast with that. It has been keeping me very occupied.
Haven't pulled the trigger yet. I just because I know what's going to happen.
What's going to happen, Kurt?
I'm gonna end up obsessing on it for a while, and yeah, no good can come from that.
I hear you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
The rabbit hole is deep on that one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the one that I mentioned, like bells and whistles, are great, but it was also like $4,000 printer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They do have them. Like there's some that are much better than one I've got for $7. So it's like you have to double your money almost every time though. You go from like this one was $300 and then you get the $600 or $700 one, which is, I mean, twice as good really with more bells and whistles. But then the next step is like the $1,300 printer. And you can go crazy. I mean, you really walk down a dangerous rabbit hole here.
I'd have to be making things to sell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would need it to fund the hobby. I need the thing to actually fund itself, and I'm too lazy for that. That's not happening.
Right. I get you.
Yeah.
Well, then you go down the rabbit hole of different materials and things like that, and the materials get super expensive, and yeah.
At some point, you have to stop trying to learn more. You just have to just go like, you know what? I've learned what I need, and if I keep learning, I'm gonna keep thinking, ooh, that would carbon fiber printing. Oh, bad idea.
See, that's why I thank God for YouTube, though. Like, YouTube, you can go way down the bunny hole on any subject you want without actually having to do it, and kind of get that a little bit of an endorphin rush from just learning about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, at some point that becomes dangerous because then you start going, how much would it cost me? And am I really into this enough to do that? And the answer usually ends up being yes, until you get the stuff and you go, oh no.
Yes, exactly. What have I done?
Well, and you've got to be super careful. Like you mentioned the carbon fiber ones. If you don't have the right nozzles for that, it will destroy your machine.
Yeah.
So,
you got to know what you're doing.
It'll wreck it. Yeah.
Read the manual. Read the friendly manual, everybody.
Yeah. Oh man, Kurt, what are you nerding out about?
Well, it's the beginning, the proto nerding of Avatar hit Netflix today.
Dude.
Snap!
Yeah,
I haven't started it yet, but I am excited to. I'll probably start it this weekend with my kids.
I started episode 1, didn't even finish it. And I went, all right, I like the way this is looking right now. Now it looks like they took a little bit more of a serious approach than the cartoon. What I haven't done is I haven't seen any of, they really haven't even gotten into Aang's, traveling at all yet. And so we haven't met anybody really. No sidekicks per se. But as long as they don't take the fun out of it.
Yeah.
Because that was one of my main things.
Key component.
Yeah, it was a key component. And also that's one of the reasons why I hated the M. Night version.
Oh yeah, he made it completely unfunny.
All the joy got sucked out of that movie.
And he's usually known for such joyful work. That was what was so shocking.
Yeah. Oh boy. We don't have time to go down M. Night bunny hole tonight. But
Ong visited the village.
Yeah. I mean, real quick, bunny hole. Where did you stop liking him? What movie did you quit at?
Right after Unbreakable.
Okay, after Unbreakable. Joe, when did you quit on him?
Signs.
So I'm sorry. Just to be clear, I like Unbreakable. That was the last good. That was the last good movie for me.
Right. Okay. Last good movie. Let's go from there. Joe, is that Signs' last good movie?
Well, I don't know what order they came out in. I liked. I liked Sixth Sense. I liked Unbreakable.
Yeah.
When I watched Signs, I was like, really?
Okay.
There's like I get all the different foreshadowing, but there's no payoff, not really.
No.
Yeah, sure.
And so I was like, no.
Good argument.
So,
Yeah.
And then the village was just like, again, really?
See, the village was the last one I really dug because I like this whole like utopia is impossible messaging that was in there. But like Lady in the Water is what I was like, what have I done? What has happened? And then after that, it was just a disaster up until
I didn't even watch
recently.
Lady in the Water.
Fine.
I gave him a pass on Signs. I didn't like it, but I gave him a pass. I said, well, everybody's got a bad movie every now and then. Then I watched The Village and I went, nope, not doing this anymore. I like you just, yeah. And again, I don't think I've liked a movie he's done since.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, and
because he's not responsible for Split, right? Or
he did Split. Yeah.
no, he did. Okay.
Split.
So no, then I will walk that back. I really enjoyed Split. Now it was part because it was one.
Part
it was
of
just
the
good,
Unbreakable verse,
but then
or
it
whatever.
became part of the Unbreakable universe, and I went, yes, okay, good, I'm in again.
Yeah,
and
I haven't seen Split, and then Glass, right? Isn't that the
Glass.
other one?
I still haven't seen Glass.
Don't worry about it.
Oh.
If you love Split, just leave Glass.
I like Split quite a bit. Yeah, I like Split quite a bit. Yeah.
Glass will break you. Just leave. Split was wonderful. Just enjoy it. Let me put it this way. Our internet went down at the end of Glass, and we didn't bother going back.
Oh, jeez.
At the climax of the movie, we were just like, I'm done here.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm sorry. I took that in a whole different direction. I just wanted to go on with the Avatar. I didn't mean to take us too far off.
Well, and plus, I mean, there is no movie in Ba Sing Se, so nothing.
I don't know what that means.
Did you ever watch the Avatar cartoon?
No, I'm way out of my element here.
Okay. Well, there's a point where they're brainwashing people, and they tell them there's no something in the city of Ba Sing Se, and and so it's become a bit of a meme where there is no movie in Ba Sing Se, aka the M. Night Shyamalan movie does not exist.
Oh, okay. I love it. I love it.
So yeah. It is in a lot of circles considered one of the worst adaptations ever created. That abomination.
Well, but Kurt, if you like the TV series, I have not watched Avatar, the anime or the cartoon or the M. Night Shyamalan. I have no idea. When you said Avatar, I was like, oh, The Way of Water, you know?
No. which I still haven't seen. I still haven't seen that one.
One of my coworkers refers to that as Dances with Smurfs.
It's Ferngully in space is the way I always put it.
I mean, honestly, look, if we're since we're talking Avatar tangentially, that first movie I saw 5 times in IMAX.
Oh.
Yeah, sweet.
Because it was such a spectacle that I had to bring people. And literally I paid for IMAX tickets 5 times so that I could just say, you don't understand. You've seen these 3D movies, you haven't seen this. Yeah, and because
the 3D was pretty amazing.
It was amazing, and still, I don't know that I've seen it matched. From that first movie.
Yeah.
Now, was it a good? It wasn't a good movie. I mean,
no, we'd seen that movie before. Pocahontas, Dance with the Wolves, Ferngully.
Yeah,
I mean, they're all the same.
They're all the same, and literally, I got out of that and went, huh. Pocahontas. Okay, I get it.
What was the weird metal that they wanted? Wasn't it like unobtainium or something?
Unobtainium.
Yeah.
What gets me is they never even say what they use it for. They give it this name that makes it sound special, but they never are like, this is what we can do with it. Like,
well, you've got 5 more movies to learn.
Right. But it's like, why did you want it so bad that you were willing to destroy a civilization for it? Like,
because they need to make more mining equipment to mine the unobtainium.
Yeah. They use it to make T800s. It's all really a shared universe.
Right. Oh my God. Can you even imagine if that's what we find out? I just I think in the movie theater, the first time I saw it and they said it's called unobtainium and they didn't say that it was a joke, I groaned out loud. I think I literally was like going,
You went full Charles.
James Cameron can't come up with a better name of a metal than this. Like, look, the X-Men comic books just came up with Mysterium lately, which is the new metal. Right. That's not a good name either, but better than unobtainium.
I agree.
I mean, what's that? Hard to getite?
Oh, that was good. I love it. So Avatar, anyway, great TV show.
So far, so good. I'm looking forward to it. It's like 8 episodes, I think, and they put them all out. So it's
sweet.
Probably will be a weekend binge.
I might have to watch it. I'm a little nervous having no association with the show beforehand, but if you think it would be good for somebody, a noob like me.
The trailers look really, really good. Like I said, I haven't started yet, but the trailers look really good.
All right.
I would definitely give it a watch. And then if you're interested, take a look at the cartoon and see how you like that. I will say that that happened to me recently with the One Piece TV show, which I still haven't finished, but they did a live action One Piece. I wasn't familiar with the anime, but I found myself having just a lot of fun watching the live action. Sweet. And so I want to go back and watch the anime when I get it around to it. Probably, maybe. As long as I don't get sidetracked by Demon Slayer again.
To have too many hobbies.
Yeah, no kidding.
I just realized I have not downloaded the speak pipes from Charles because I'm pretty sure he talks about Yu Yu Hakusho in
that's right.
speak pipes.
That hit too.
Yeah. So I'm going to download those real quick, but I also need to talk about what I have been nerding out about.
Yes.
So for me, I have been watching an anime called Solo Leveling.
I swear to God, I thought you were playing a game and you were talking about solo leveling it. Yeah. All right.
Nope. An anime. And I've actually in our Discord, I was having a conversation with Civilian on base about Solo Leveling. He said he's really, really liking it as well. It is an anime where these portals opened up in the world. And with the advent of the portals, certain people gained abilities. And they're called hunters. And so you can go and have your ability measured, and each hunter is given a grade from E through, I think, S, on how strong their ability is. And the whole shtick is your ability determines your strength, period. You can't increase your ability. You can gain proficiency in different talents per se, like different techniques, and you can refine that, but your strength level as a hunter, because you're already so far above the human threshold, that's where you cap out, is based on your ability. Except there are rare instances, and they call it when you gain your ability, they call it an awakening. And so when you awaken, there are rare instances where people will experience a second awakening, and then their cap is then that, but that's it. The main character goes through this traumatic event, and he is able to unlock almost like a video game-esque challenge system where he can continually get stronger. And so it's not over yet. It's an ongoing season, but his potential seems to be limitless. And so he went from being known around Japan as the weakest hunter, barely above a normal human, to now he considers himself like C or B tier already where I'm at, and he is aiming for S tier or higher. So
like you do.
Yeah, like you do. Well, and the only reason he was even a hunter, because he was so weak, the only reason is because the stuff you get in they call them dungeons, in the portals that open up, is worth a lot of money, and he's trying to pay for his mom's medical bills.
I was going to say child's heart transplant, but same.
I was ready for it.
Yep.
Like, where's the heart at? Okay,
Right.
That's it.
Yep. So yeah, it's really good. It's gritty, so it's not for everyone by any stretch of the imagination. It's definitely not for everyone, but I'm really liking it.
This art is wild. I just Googled it just to look at some images.
Yeah.
It looks pretty. Like, I'm not, anime is where my geek card I can't get that part punched. But I really like this art.
Me too. I have a real hard time with anime, and I want to like it, but and Joe and Charles got me into Demon Slayer. I actually I got caught up. I finished what was available. I really enjoyed it, but I had to get past that over the top anime reaction stuff. It drives me crazy. Like, just stop. Just stop.
I'm with you. I grew up on like Chuck Jones, man. Like, that's a cartoon to me. So anime is taking itself so seriously, and then there'll be like a potato will come out of nowhere and have this ridiculous voice, and I'm like, what is that? What is happening? And I'll just get all bent out of shape. But I have watched some Studio Ghibli stuff, and that's great. That's just beautiful. I mean, I only recently did I get into that, so I would give this a try, Joe. This looks pretty cool.
Give it a try.
I'm glad you brought it my attention, because that's some cool looking art, and that person with the smiley face is creeping me out. So I'm in.
Where's it available?
Is it on Prime Video? I'm trying to remember now.
I don't know. I asked you.
Well, so I watch so many things, it's hard to keep track of where everything is. It's definitely on Crunchyroll, but I thought it was on Prime as well.
Crunchyroll is what IMDb says.
Okay.
So it might just be a Crunchyroll thing.
Okay.
It's also very difficult to Google solo leveling when it's also like a concept in video games.
Yeah. Maybe I just saw it advertised on Prime now that Prime has those stupid ads.
Probably. They need to work on their SEO, change the title so we can find it easier.
AI can help them with that.
Yeah, that's
if
right.
you just type solo leveling anime, you'll find it. It's definitely on Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's available on the normal Crunchyroll, or because what Crunchyroll often does is they will make it free for the first like 3 episodes, and then that'll be locked behind a paywall.
Okay. Yeah. So the realgood.com says it's season 1 is free, but it could be misleading.
Yeah. Let me click on it. No. Yeah. So it looks like, again, 3 episodes are available on Crunchyroll.
Yeah. We give you the free stuff to get you in, and then get you hooked.
Yeah, they've got some. Crunchyroll has quite a few things that are available for free, but generally it's not the new stuff. So,
Yep. All right. So,
all right. Well, we've got some messages from Charles, so let's go ahead and and see what he has to say.
Hey, Charles McFall, Rock Out of Podcasting. And Joe, you had me watch Yu Yu Hakusho and the live action version on Netflix. I'd never seen the anime, and you were worried that because they mashed together storylines, you wanted to know if we would miss something. I'm going to say I just found it to be a generic anime. Honestly, most of it I just didn't care about. I did see some scenes previously on TikTok, so I was excited about that, because the scene at the very beginning of the first episode where the god lady, the death lady, whatever she is, pops out of nothingness to talk to his spirit. That was cool. I had seen that on TikTok, so I thought, oh, okay, get me interested. And then the junkyard scene with the bad version of the Red Hulk, the Wish Red Hulk, that was okay. I'd seen that one on TikTok. Bobby, honest, most of the progression felt like the long versions of the story. And I'm going to have to do a part 2. So I'm going to do part 2 after this. But if that makes sense, it's like you got some of the building between the main character and the blonde friend, and you got some of the learning how to fight, and that stuff made sense. But there just didn't feel like much of a connection with any of the characters. So I guess I could have used a deeper background on some of these characters to care, to give a crap, I guess is what I'm struggling with. Part 2 coming up.
Yeah, so Steven, for your reference, because I doubt you've seen Yu Yu Hakusho on Netflix.
Oh, no, I'm way well versed in it. Encyclopedic knowledge, as a matter of fact.
Wikipedic knowledge, maybe.
The live action version took 2 seasons of the anime and put it into 5 episodes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, and they mixed and matched, like they took snippets from this season, blended it together, and
like a clip show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, basically the hot points. Yeah, all right.
So whereas the anime I've watched 3 times all the way through, so I like the anime. So
all right, well, Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yes.
All right.
It's an older anime. I don't know if there's anywhere to watch it. Last time I watched it, I found someone had posted the episodes on YouTube.
Yeah,
that was the last time I had watched it. But
I've found that some older shows they're like mirrored on Daily Motion, and by mirrored I mean they're literally like flipped so all the text is the wrong direction. That gets them past the old copyright detection.
Or they speed up the audio a little bit to try to avoid it as well, and
yeah, things are just a little desynced.
So do we know if Charles was familiar with the anime or not? I couldn't remember.
He was not familiar. That's why he was coming in. Yeah. So it looks like the only places that have all 4 seasons are, well, soon to be Crunchyroll because they're absorbing Funimation. Tubi.
Yep.
So if I remember correctly, Tubi's free, right? With ads?
I think so.
With ads, yeah.
So all 4 seasons are on Tubi, and then 2 of the seasons are on Hulu.
Yeah, the first two seasons are on Hulu.
Oh, all right.
So I mean, the second season is probably the best season out of all 4 seasons. So watching the first 2 seasons, you're gonna get the best of Yu Yu Hakusho.
All right.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's see what part 2 has to bring us.
All right, part 2 here. So you have your 2 female characters, or 3 really, but the god lady, death lady, whatever, doesn't really count. You had the god dude with the pacifier the whole time. It felt like a really bad version of Zordon, I think it was the name from Power Rangers. It was a connective tissue, but it was kind of irrelevant, other than resurrecting Yusho, or whatever his name was.
Yusuke.
I tell you, the fight scenes were fun. Him learning how to use the powers was fun. Them training, that episode was fun with the white-haired friend and the main character. But the girls were always just damsels in distress and had no real point. And the swordsman just kind of showed up, just kind of didn't. It was kind of interesting, but kind of not. And he was overplayed with the sulky, sullen mystery man aspect. The red demon, he was the most interesting out of everybody with his story of tricking the lady and then, so on and so forth. But the sacrifice of half a life didn't seem to matter to the story at all, had no real effect on the characters or the progression of the powers or anything like that. So some of it was shallow. I've got one more part coming just to wrap up the final episode, and I'll do that now.
Yeah, so, I mean, when you cram 2 seasons into 5 episodes, you're gonna have to cut like all of the character development, which is what they did.
I mean, it sounds like you liked it.
Still don't know what it's about because Charles is a master at describing things. But
yeah.
So
you sure you needed a third host on this show? Like, I mean, his call-ins is really taking up a lot of the meat. I could have.
Man. Yeah. So Yusuke Urameshi dies in the first episode of either one.
Spoilers.
And he is given a deal where he can come back to life if he agrees to be a spirit detective. So he handles issues for the spirit realm when he needs to, and usually that is it takes on the form of fighting demons who have escaped from the demon world and are wreaking havoc on the human world. So all right.
So in this case, spirit world are the good guys?
Yes.
Okay.
So spirit world is like heaven type of thing.
Okay. But you can't say heaven for copyright reasons.
Well, but it's not entirely heaven.
Moses will come down and just tell you, wait, hold on.
I guess spirit world they control the afterlife. And then there's the human world and the demon world that are separated, although they used to be connected. But the spirit world separated them.
Okay.
So,
yeah, got it.
Okay. Yep.
Clear as mud. And
the just like Earth, I totally same thing.
The death lady that he keeps referencing, her name is Botan, and she's a blue-haired lady who refers to herself as the Grim Reaper. So, she ferrets spirits from the human world to the spirit world. So
okay. Ferryman. Got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Caught up. Yep.
Except she rides on a broom.
The old Flying Dutchman. All right. Well, you know, everybody's got to have their mode of transportation.
Right. Otherwise, all mythology would be the same. And where's the fun in that?
Yeah, that'd be boring.
And the best part is he's making fun of the god guy who has a pacifier. The live action shows him in his adult form the entire time, whereas in the anime, he's in toddler form almost the entire time, and so he's this talking toddler with a pacifier in his mouth.
Wait, so the adult dude has a pacifier too?
Yeah. When he turns into his adult form, he still has his pacifier in his mouth in the anime.
I'm talking about in the live action.
Yeah, so there is no baby form in the live action. Right. He's only the adult form, and he has the pacifier. Yes.
You know, I've seen Stranger Things. Look, don't kink shame Kurt. It's fine. If that's what he likes, you let him do it.
I mean, relatively mild spoiler alert for the anime, because it has no payoff in the live action. He is constantly siphoning off his energy and storing it in the pacifier.
Okay.
And so it becomes a MacGuffin for a brief moment when he uses all that stored up energy to accomplish something.
There wasn't a different object he could be siphoning that energy into that was less weird.
Nope.
Okay. Just want to make sure we went through all the ideas first before we land on that one.
Yeah, his name's Kawinma. All right, now to part 3.
All right.
So, Joe, you may have figured out that I just finished episode 5, and I wanted to record my thoughts on Yu Yu Hakusho. Again, generic, kind of lightweight. Some of it was interesting. A lot of it just was kind of drug out and boring, to be honest. And there just wasn't any real connection with any of the characters. The final episode, that was actually solid to me for the most part until the final wrap up. The battles were good. The betrayals were good. The whole work your way through this betting thing that turned out to be nothing, really. I mean, the whole betting and the Japanese gangster that was losing everything and sweating, and he just didn't. He was so irrelevant to the whole story in this show. The whole thing with the tears, okay. You know, it just was irrelevant. I mean, I get it. It's kind of tracking to the sister or whatever, but yeah. But the hand waving at the end is what bothered me the most. Okay, so we finished the battle. He wins. Really cool scene. And then they settled the bet, and all of a sudden the yokai just go back to hell or whatever. Why did the dude shoot himself? I don't understand that part. Just because he lost finally? I don't know. And then just the wrap up of, we say this line and that wrapped up that storyline, and we say this line and that wrapped up that storyline. It was a lot of throwaway wrap ups at the end that I could have just done without. You could have ended.
No,
he could have ended his talk apparently.
But Charles's ending was a throwaway. Got it.
Yeah.
So big spoilers, I guess, because that's where Charles is going with it. The main character in the last episode bet his life on the outcome of the final fight, and so he lived up to his word. Like, betting is core to his character, and so he bet his life, so his life is forfeit. So
all right. that was a journey. That was in 3 acts there. Act 1, 2, and 3. You got the whole deal.
Yeah. So because the live action combined the final fight from season 1 with the final fight from season 2. And so that's partly why it was so confusing for Charles right there, because the whole betting, the guy that he mentioned, the whole betting guy, that's part of season 1. And whereas a lot of the fight took other than the scenery, most of the fight took its inspiration from season 2. So okay. Yeah, they were just melding the 2 season finales.
Got it.
But yeah. Like I said, I really like the anime. If you only watch the first 2 seasons, you're getting the best part of it. So if that's what if you choose to watch it. But yeah, it's pretty good.
Sure. Cool.
All right.
Roll that die.
All righty.
Who was that?
That was Bob. Tales by Bob.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't heard one yet. So.
Yep.
Time for a commercial break.
Ugh.
Wait, I haven't heard this yet. I've listened to a few episodes. I haven't heard the commercial break.
Oh, you have, but it's so chaotic. We ought to let this play so we can just like get into the vibe of the music.
Yeah. Feel the rhythm.
All right. Well, if you want to call in and talk to us like Charles did this evening, you can head over to wiseandnerdy.com/calldad and leave us your own speak pipe and become part of the show. If you would like to support us, you can head on over to patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy and become one of our wonderful patrons. Just like Devosite, who we will hear from next week. We've got a whole bunch of different speak pipes from him, and he talks a lot. He chimed in on the conversation on our Discord when we were when I was talking to Civilian about Solo Leveling and a couple of other anime. It was quite the conversation. So again, head on over to patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy. All right. Now,
that might have been the cleanest we've done that whole break.
That's good.
On purpose. Well, so what you need to understand is that Joe and I tend to troll Charles when this part comes up. We jump the gun and throw in the plugs and stuff. Exactly.
Patreon.com
exactly.
/wise.
Oh, that's good. I do have a question about Call Dad, though. Is it okay if I call 3 separate times to explain the same topic in 3 different segments so we can talk about it? Is that legal?
Yes, it is.
Good.
Anything is legal.
I'll just use the whole minute 3 times. Perfect. All right. Good.
Yeah, well, I think it's a minute and a half, 90 seconds. All
That's
those
fine.
90 seconds.
I can fill that air. It's fine.
or if you don't want to break it up, you can record it yourself and send it to us in an email, wnnshow@gmail.com. So. All right.
Roll the dice of destiny.
Sounded like it came from behind me. That was wild.
That was, I think, Devosite had that one. I don't know if Charles even has that one.
Dad joke.
So, in lieu of a certain daddy being out for milk, I think we're going to skip this segment.
Yeah.
Hopefully he returns next week.
Saving it for you, Charles.
He told me he just needed to go get some milk and cigarettes. That's what I heard. No.
Oh, man.
Roll that dice. It's personal story time.
Rumor has it, Steven, that you have a unique activity that you do with your son, right?
Oh yeah, me and my kiddo are maybe not professional, but definitely amateur Sasquatch hunters. We are on the hunt in my neighborhood. Every now and then, as it gets dark, I've been told by him. My son is 8 years old. We'll call him Sam because that's his name. Sam is 8 years old, and he loves cryptids, all of them. Jersey Devils, Sasquatch, Mothman, whatever. It's like his jam. Skunk ape. He loves that stuff. So every now and then we'll find an activity to do. We're like, hey, you want to go hunt a squatch this evening? So we'll get in my old Ford pickup, because if you're gonna hunt squatch, you got to do it classy.
Yep.
And we drive down like the half mile to the pool next to the forest. We go out and we walk the perfectly paved nature trail looking for squatch evidence. So that is our activity. He currently really wants to make a YouTube channel where we record our adventures on a GoPro and try to find a squatch. But it is an absolute wonderful. It's like snipe hunting. If you remember snipe hunting when you were a kid.
That was actually mentioned by Random.
Oh yeah, Random Kid. Yeah, snipe hunting. But we know for sure that there is a Sasquatch out in the woods. Like, this isn't some sort of thing, some sort of made up game your uncle sends you out to do. No, it's out there. Found some bark, and he insists, my son being the tracker, I'm just following along, insists that these are bite marks from a Sasquatch on this bark. He said they like to chew on it in the wintertime. I don't know where he learns this stuff.
Now, how old is Sam?
He is 8 years old. He'll be 9 in like a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I met him at Dragon Con this last year.
Yeah. He followed me around for a little bit there, where we actually met a professional Bigfoot hunter. Wild story. We're leaving the hotel to leave Dragon Con. We're all kind of like, oh, man, we had a good time, but it's time to go. Walk out of the hotel, and there on the bench, like sitting right next to where our car was the Bigfoot hunter that we saw on a panel earlier that week. It was like the monster show from History Channel or whatever. He's over there, massive human being, 7 foot tall guy. Like, it felt that way anyway, but big old beard, overalls. I'm like, that's the guy. I'm pretty sure. So I took Sam over there. I said, Sam, I said, hey, can my son get a picture with you? He loves Bigfoot. He's like, oh yeah, super cool guy. Was telling my kiddo all about like the scariest monster he'd ever seen and stuff. I mean, these are guys that could get paid for autographs if they wanted to. And he was just out there just chill, enjoying talking to my kid about Bigfoot for about 5 minutes before we left. And I was very happy that we ran into him. It was great. So my kid's Bigfoot obsession continues. We're going to catch him.
There you go.
Yeah, pretty sure we're going to catch him.
So Random Kid had a question here. How can you be a professional Bigfoot hunter? Followed up by, how do you make money? So
that's an excellent question.
How does this guy monetize his Bigfoot hunting?
Well, you find yourself a TV network that's willing to pay you. The only difference between an amateur and a professional is the cash money. And he has paid him and 4 or 5 other knuckleheads who are big personalities. You don't get your own TV show on the History Channel by being just kind of mediocre. These guys are over the top. So like it's just like ghost hunters, man. They get paid to go wander around scary buildings. They don't know, but there they are doing their thing, making money. I think we could do it. If you guys and me, like Charles can come if he wants to. We don't have to tell him about it. We could probably be professional Bigfoot hunters.
Oh yeah.
I think it's pulled off.
Well, and part of it, honestly, is convincing people that you know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
That's all it is. That's all it is. And there've been like books written on how I became an expert on something, and literally 90% of it is selling yourself as an expert and convincing the right people that you are an expert. And it doesn't matter if you know anything.
No. No, you just need to know more than they do, or appear to know more than they do. That's all it is. Yeah.
So on a serious note, though, it sounds like just from the adventures that you're having, one of the things that your kid might grow into is a geocacher.
Yeah, we've done that.
Okay.
We have done that, and it is a blast. He gets a little frustrated we can't find stuff.
Oh, look, as an adult, I get frustrated when I can't find stuff. Yeah.
Blue sucks.
Right.
But but we have done it. We found some cool stuff, and every time we find it, it's the greatest thing ever. He gets
it's that same that hunt thing, right?
Yep.
It's be careful, because that can easily turn into I need to collect things.
Yes, we've seen that, a little bit of that. Pokemon cards are the current thing, but the desire
into the Little Mermaid. You just have a full cove of random stuff you found.
A cave of junk. We just find it in this room somewhere. Like, what is this?
Yeah. Geocaching is awesome, and it's still like way more active than people think it is. It's just not as in fashion.
Oh yeah, I love it. I've been doing it since college. Like it's a blast.
Yeah.
Oh man,
so much easier now with phones.
According to Random Kid, Charles is a shaved Bigfoot, a hairless Bigfoot.
I guess I need to tell Sam he's met Bigfoot. We just didn't even know.
Right.
Oh man,
so that's the strategy. Are you guys coming to Dragon Con this year?
Sam will not be coming with me this year. My wife and him, he's getting older, so missing school is getting a little bit more, of a thing. So I'm going this year, but I'm bringing along TV's Travis and Audie Norman.
Okay.
If you're familiar with those guys, they'll be coming along with me.
Oh, that's cool. I actually I haven't met Travis in person, but I've been on his show a couple times.
Oh yeah.
So it'd be good to see him in person.
Yeah, we're gonna have a blast, but we're already disappointed. Stephanie's like, I would kind of wish we had decided to come. So next year they might be
they might be back.
Doing it. Yeah, they might be back. Yeah, but sure. Yeah,
cool.
There you go.
What's next,
actually,
Joe?
While we're there, what brought you down to Dragon Con?
To begin with?
Yeah, because you're up in North Carolina, right? So
yeah. But when I first went to Dragon Con, I lived in Tallahassee, Florida, which isn't that far. And it was the only con I knew about at the time other than Comic-Con in San Francisco. I was like, Dragon Con sounds neat. So I went, and that was like one of the first years the podcasting track was around. It was a podcasting track then. And like it was the people from the Twit Network and Brian Brushwood and stuff were all there that year. And that's kind of what drew me up there. And Ashley and I were convinced we were going to eventually be on the digital the podcast. We're like, that's the goal. That's like the Super Bowl. If we could just get there, we'll make it. And then we did, and it was awesome. Only thing that separates you from your dreams is an email. That's what I learned from that experience.
It's very true. Yeah, if you go to DC Digital Media Track on YouTube, I'm pretty sure there's links in all of our videos to get into the Discord. And if you want to participate, just ask.
Yeah,
and
can I do a show at Dragon Con? Sure, why not?
Yep,
what just happened? Yeah, and then we got 3 other cons after that because Dragon Con gave us confidence. So 2 cons in Raleigh, in the Raleigh area, and we were just like, "Can we do a show at your con?" Yeah, can you do it at 10 o'clock on a Thursday? Yes, I don't care. Whatever, we're coming.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Charles is trying to get Wise and Nerdy at more cons this year. We've already been to 1. We'll be back at Dragon Con this year, and he's aiming, I think, for 3 more for Wise and Nerdy. Plus, he wants 20-something speaking stuff at conventions in general. So not even just Wise and Nerdy, but he's pitching a game show and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah,
good for him. I'll just let me know when to be there. I'll show up if he doesn't. So
that's
anytime.
Right. So actually, at Chattacon is where one of the roll that dice, that was Bob, Tales by Bob, and he was on our panel at Chattacon for Wise and Nerdy. So that was a lot of fun.
I would show up, but given that I am the evolution of Charles, we can't be at the same place at the same time. Ripping the space-time continuum.
Well, now that we know he's Bigfoot, does that mean he's like the Cro-Magnon version of Steven?
Yes, actually, yes. He is the Neanderthal big forehead version of me. I like it. Does he listen to the show? Probably shouldn't let him. It's fine.
Who knows? Yeah. I mean, I think we ought to convince him to cosplay as Bigfoot.
Yes, I'm in. Big Chewbacca outfit.
I still think we should convince him. He's got a Snorlax onesie. I would love to see him wear that at Dragon Con too. Yep. Although he would have heat stroke. He would boil up in that.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, down in the pits of the Hilton. No, I don't think so.
I've seen Phil wearing various Pokemon outfits, and he's moist.
When he takes that thing off, you're like, "What? Are you okay?"
Well, and you got to stand downwind too.
Yeah, he's got his feet sloshing around from all the sweat draining at the bottom of his onesie.
Yes, plan your cosplay accordingly, because it is hot in Atlanta. All right.
What do you love?
Nope, wrong button.
I don't know. It sounded pretty good to me.
Roll that die.
Roll the dice of destiny.
Of destiny.
So good.
Which one's okay? Actually, we've got
Let Daddy decide.
which is How Do I? And this one is How Do I Learn a New Programming Language?
We don't have any experts here for that.
Yeah, so with my new position that I started in September, I've had to learn some PowerShell scripting, had to learn a little bit of C#, and my new area supports so many different things that I've had to learn quite a bit. And to be frank, my go-to source is Google, because most programming languages, at least from a logical standpoint, are comparable. And so it's just like, how do I do this but in this language type of thing? And then one thing I check is how recent were the posts, because programming languages, their syntax changes over time. So if you're looking at something from 7, 8, 9 years ago, that might not be the way to do it anymore. And so I consult Google, look at what other people are doing, and see if it runs. And that a lot of times that's what it is just seeing what runs. And what you end up doing as a programmer is you build up your own personal library of source code, and then you're like, oh, I did that over here. You go over to that, you copy, you paste, you make adjustments as necessary, and you just reuse code that you've already been using. And then you're like, oh wait, this isn't the way to do it anymore, and you have to update it every now and again. But yeah, a lot of times it's Google. I mean, there's plenty of like websites and stuff that you can go to learn, but that's what I do. What about you, Steven? What do you do?
I try and come up with some sort of thing I want to make. Like, I got to have a goal. So, like, when I was first learning Python, for instance, I had Python. I had to do it at work, but I was still new. They hired me, and they're like, do you know Python? I was like, not really. They're like, you'll learn. It's fine. But so I had to kind of baptism by fire in some ways. But with that, we had a framework, and I could kind of pick apart other people's work to see, like, what I needed to do. But to really cement into how I did it, I wanted to make a Twitch chatbot. So I kind of started with Googling, like, how do I start making a Twitch chatbot with Python? And then you kind of learn from there. Nowadays, if I had to do it, I would like, this is going to tie back to earlier, but I would lean heavy on some Chat GPT.
I have done that for my new position. Be like, how do I do this in PowerShell?
I use that. I don't know how to use Python decorators really well. Like, I didn't learn a lot about class inheritance and how decorators work. So I just was like, I'm doing this code the same way in 4 different functions. What can I write a decorator that I can just slap on each of these functions and remove all that, and it just does it itself? Yes, you can, Steven. I asked my local AI, and it said, yeah, here's actually how you do it. And I didn't trust it. So I went and I took it, and I this is the thing about AI, like, it can get you most of the way. But you need to know if you're looking at trash or you're looking at something real. So I took what it was telling me to do and I simplified it, and I did like just a simple hello world kind of thing, but using the kind of the structure it gave me to validate it. Like, oh, that is how those work. So yeah, if I had to do it now, it would be kind of asking AI, like, hey, can you give me one thing I ask anytime I'm trying to play with a new model and figure out, like, what can this one tell me that's different than this other one? It's usually, can you show me how to make a website in Python that just does a hello world when I visit it? And it spits that out pretty fast. I'm like, okay, yeah, this code looks legit. And from there, I know how to do that. So I trust it a little more as I work my way through the more complicated things. And what I found, I did this, I built a project called polarbear.me. POLLER. It's a polling website. Did it for a hackathon. I didn't know any front end. I didn't know how to work a front end to save my life. I needed a UI. I knew how to make the background stuff work. I just didn't know how to present it to people. I did that all with AI. I'm like, okay, I want to use this framework somebody told me about. I wanted to have a question field. I wanted to have polling answer fields. And by the end of that week, I had asked it enough questions, built enough that I could then understand what I had built a little better. It's kind of like your parents read to you for a while, and then you start to realize you're picking up on the words in the book. Like, you're starting to see them as words and not just squiggles as your parents teach you. So I'm a big fan of using Chat GPT as a way to get in and get it to kind of show you what to do, because you're going to learn organically from that experience. It's like having a mentor, but it is a mentor because people are wrong a lot. And Chat GPT is going to be wrong a lot. So you're kind of going to have to work your way through it. It'll force where it is wrong. It will force you into learning a little bit.
Random Kid says Chat GPT is almost as confident in itself as Charles is in himself.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things we talked about in previous weeks about the AI stuff is as you mentioned, I'm also in IT, but I am not a programmer by any stretch. But I have a bunch of people that sometimes will run into a technical problem that they're just trying to muscle their way through. And I've used ChatGPT just to go, hey, how do you solve this in PowerShell? And while what it spits out isn't going to solve the problem most of the time, it gives them a place to start looking again.
Yeah.
Right. And so it triggers a different direction. And I find that very valuable, that kind of thing, because, it's kind of like writer's block, right? Where you're just going, I banged my head against this problem for like the last 3 hours. I have no idea where to go now. Sometimes it helps, and sometimes it'll trigger a different thought process.
Sure.
So yeah, why not use the tools?
Yeah. We call it rubber ducking. Whenever you just need to get it out of your head and onto paper. Like, I do that 9 times out of 10. Hey, buddy, like asking an actual friend at work, I'm thinking about this. Oh, never mind. I just realized what I was doing.
Yeah, right.
Just the minute you get it out, and ChatGPT is an excellent rubber duck partner, especially if you've got some idea of where you want to go.
Right.
Yeah, so learn to code.
Yeah.
You don't have to learn to code. Don't let everybody tell you have to learn to code. It's fun. It's a fun practice.
I tried once. I hated it so much.
Do you want to know how I got into it, Kurt?
Yeah.
It was not because I don't have a computer science degree. I'm an English literature person. I wanted to code because I thought syntax highlighting was really pretty. I wanted to write code because I thought I loved syntax highlighting and the way things like the fonts and stuff. I'm very visual. My code is so scrappy because of it, but like that's how I got into it. Had nothing, and my job made me. That was really the thing.
Yeah.
My first venture into coding was in high school, coding my TI-83 Plus calculator. So our math textbook actually had a couple of example programs that it showed you the code for. And so I'm like, oh, well, that's not too bad. And so I made a full-fledged program to help me in like my trigonometry class and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I wanted to make sure it was on the up and up. So I told my teacher, I'm like, look, I've got this program that I made. Is it okay if I use it on the test? And they're like, if you know the formula well enough to program it, you're good.
That's a really cool teacher.
So like I had the quadratic formula programmed into my calculator and I just had to plug in the variables and it spit out the answer for me. And it was back then, well, depending on the teacher, but that particular teacher, I didn't have to show my work. So I was done with those tests in like 5 minutes, whereas everyone else is taking an hour.
You knew you had it. Yeah. That's a cool teacher.
So yeah, that was good times. I had a few people try to get the program for me. I'm like, sure, give me $10.
All right, now he's thinking.
And then they were like, oh, never mind. But I did have one person bought it off me, and so yeah, I was like, all right,
that's
ching.
Sweet. Yeah, rock and roll, love it.
Oh, but yeah, that was my first venture into programming. All right, we have one more topic for the evening.
Can you dig it?
Which is the old version of the topic. It is, what do you think about? Specifically, what do you think about content creation or being a content creator?
It's terrible. You shouldn't do it. Stressful.
Well,
no, it's great, man.
So a lot of kids these days, when you ask them what they want to be when they grow up, they're like, I want to be a YouTuber. And so I guess, what do you, does Sam say that to you? I mean, he said he wants to start a YouTube channel with your Squatch hunting.
Yep.
What do you tell him?
I tell him it's the hardest job on the planet. Because that's the truth. It's one of the hardest jobs. I'm gonna get yelled at by like doctors and surgeons and stuff. It is one of the hardest jobs, and not because it's like it's hard, because it's all self-motivated. It takes 80 plus hours a week, if minimum, to like every 10 seconds of video is an hour and a half of work. So I tell him the truth. I'm like, you can certainly pursue this, because I remember being a kid and wanting to develop video games, or being interested in that. But everybody said, well, you can't do that. That's like for 8 people on the whole planet. You gotta be really smart. I've made like 4 games now, and I'm not going to discourage his passion for making stuff. Like, I let him go and I don't let him stream, but I let him record his game playing and talking to a microphone. And he's got such good charisma. I'm obviously his dad, so I'm a little biased, but he's got good charisma. I'm like, he could do it if he really set his mind to it. And I don't want to discourage him. So yeah, I say it's great. I'm like, we got to have some rules around it when you get old enough to be doing this stuff, because people are creepy and weird, and then that's a sketchy place. Yep. You got to set up guardrails, because I care about my kids' safety. But like, I think it's not a bad thing to consider. I think you just got to go in knowing what it's gonna take. And I've told him, like, what are you gonna do? What's your business plan? He's 8. But he knows. He's like, I want to review mods, and I want to do it in a way that other kids can watch, because a lot of the videos about mods on certain games he can't watch because the people have such filthy language and stuff.
Yep.
So regardless of how you feel about that, that's the way I am. I'd rather him not watch stuff with tons of bombs and stuff in it where they aren't necessary. So his whole model is like, I want to do stuff so 5 to 10-year-olds could watch it and could see what a mod is, and I could tell their parents, okay, this is suitable for ages 12 to 18, or this is suitable for 4 to 6. Yeah, it's really cool. I'm like, that's actually really well thought out, bud.
It's way more thought out than a lot of content creators.
Right?
He's good, man. He's good.
Yeah, and my boys, they're 11 and 9, and they're like, I want to be a YouTuber when I grow up. And so whenever they mention it, I always bring them back to a specific example of a YouTuber. I don't know if you've ever watched Hermitcraft. They're Minecraft YouTubers, and there's one guy in particular. His name, he goes by the handle Impulse SV, and Impulse was a programmer long before he was a YouTuber, and he was doing YouTube for 10 years before he went full-time YouTube. And so I tell them, I'm like, you've got to have a way to make money while you're building up your audience.
Yeah.
And I mentioned, I'm like, this guy was a programmer. He had a full career. He then went to part-time, and then he went to as a part-time as a programmer, went to part-time, and then now is a full-time YouTube creator. But before that, he worked, I think it was for Intel. I could be wrong on that, but I think he was working for Intel. And so I'm like, I said, I'm like, pursue your passion, but just know it's basically going to be a second job that you don't get paid for a long time while you're building up your audience and building up your technical skills, because a lot of kids, they look at it as, oh, I can just record myself playing a video game and post it and make money. Well, that doesn't work for 99.99999% of people. You have to learn a lot about editing. You have to learn a lot about not just video editing, but graphic editing for your thumbnails. You have to learn about SEO. You have to learn about the ever-changing YouTube algorithm and how to leverage it to your advantage. And there's so many different hats that you have to wear to be a successful YouTuber.
Yeah. And not to mention mental fortitude.
Yes.
Because it is you got to be pretty sure of who you are and what you stand for and what you're going to let bother you to put your face on the internet. I worry about that more than anything.
Well, and you don't necessarily have to put your face on the internet.
VTubers, they got that.
Or just there's like I'm Hermitcraft. They're one of the most successful Minecraft YouTube collaborators. They all play on a server together. There's several of them that have never shown their face.
Yeah.
And so you can do it. Mm-hmm. You can stay anonymous if that's what you so choose, but then there's aspects of that are going to be detrimental because people want to see your face. And then once you do reveal your face, it's like, oh, that's what you look like.
Right. Yeah. Like, oh.
Right. And so I try to rein them in to realism while also encouraging them. And so I'm like, look, on a Saturday, if I'm still learning how to edit videos, but I can teach you what I've learned so far, and we can learn stuff together. And so, yeah, I got OBS onto their computers so they can record stuff, and I teach them little bits here and there. They haven't posted anything, but learning those skills now will help them if they actually want to seriously pursue it.
I think that look, my kids are both adults at this point, and so and I worked in the video game industry for a little over 20 years, and my son in particular, my oldest, grew up in the video game industry quite literally. I mean, he would come in to help beta test some things when he was small, because when I was working at Hasbro, we were doing video games based on the Tonka license and things like that. So when he grew older, he wanted to major in video games, and frankly, nowadays the colleges have those majors, and so he did, and he has proceeded to do nothing with it. In fact, he's basically on his way to becoming a full-fledged butcher. Really.
Okay.
So all of that is the one thing that I don't think is really content creator specific, but how we talk to our kids about what they want to do is just say, hey, this is really cool. The really cool aspect of things, content creation. Look, I've been doing it's content creation of a sort, but I've been doing voiceover now for about 10 years or so. And just now I'm getting to the point where if I put my full weight into it, I could work as a part-time job doing it. Like, I'm making enough after 10 years, because there's an aspect of luck that's involved and an aspect of the back end, not fun, really hard work stuff that nobody likes doing. But if you want to succeed in whatever you want to do, you got to be willing to put in the hard work. And that's the work that sucks. It's just not good. It's not fun. Nobody wants to do it. But if you want to actually, like, if your kids want to, become a YouTuber, do cool content, and make lots of money, two out of three of those are really easy. The other one, the make lots of money thing, requires a lot of work, as you guys know. And that's the place where the rubber meets the road, and where people don't want to do the work or don't know how to do the work, which requires more education, which is way more difficult. And frankly, where most people don't want to deal with it. I just want to do what I do. Cool. You can do that too.
Yeah.
Just don't expect a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
that's when you got to determine what your goal is in being a content creator.
Right.
Is your goal to make it a job that make a livable wage at? That's not my goal with content creation. Or is it just the creation itself? Like, Wise and Nerdy is a creative avenue for me. It isn't a money making thing. Like, I don't make hardly anything off of this. Most podcasters don't.
Right.
Charles promised me a good $100 for this appearance, so I don't know what you guys are making.
Way less than that.
That's like 3 months of our Patreon payout.
Nice. Yeah. So what, here's the, like, I work a full-time day job, and I do voiceover, and I do podcasting and stuff on the side. My goal, and I've told my boss this flat out, my goal is to quit the company because I'm making enough money with my voice to sustain myself. I'm not there. I don't know if I'll ever be there, but that's just something I constantly work towards. Now, the level of work that takes is limited because I have a limit to the amount of time that I have. Yeah. But I will say, I think largely podcasting and things like that are largely a creative outlet for me. What's really weird is I'm now at the point where, because I've been doing TikTok and Instagram for a while now, doing the fat guy and now fit guy stuff. And I am now really looking more seriously into how do I expand my audience. Because I've got a decent amount of followers, but not anything to make any money on. I mean, nothing close at all. But my intent isn't so much to make the money, but to increase the range of the message.
Yeah.
And so that's my bigger concern, which I know is a little further afield than, what are we talking about for content creation. But I think we went down the road with the kids. And I think that's, it really all comes back down to, you can do all of this stuff that you want, but just understand there's a sucky part of it. and you just have to. If you're willing to do that, that's cool. That's great, and you probably can be a success. But it's a lot of work and a lot more than anybody knows, right? So, and success is a mix of hard work and luck, no question about it. I mean, honestly, when I got into the video game industry, I was 19 years old, and it was 1986. There were very few companies to speak of, and those of us who played video games were very niche. I mean, it was just, there weren't a lot of people doing that. And so I lucked into it. I was the first full-time tester for a company, and lucked into a career. I would not hire me today if I was still managing groups in video game industry, because too many people have way more experience now.
Yeah. It's a crowded field.
It's a really crowded field, and a terrible business. Just the way the employees are treated now. It was bad when I was in it. It got worse. It got worse. So you can go down that road, but just be prepared that you're probably going to need to work a second job at the very least, just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my wife always joked that my wife and I both joked that I Forrest Gumped my way into my career. Just like I was in college, they funneled people from there into a contracting position. I mean, I interviewed well, so I some of it was my own effort. And then once I got in, I'm not that great of an interviewer, but I'm a real good worker, and I'm real fast at learning stuff. So it's like I just try to hang on to whatever job I've got, because I'm like, I never want to interview again if I could just avoid it at all costs.
There's something to be said for that, right? Yeah. And I'll tell you, like, one of the things that I told my son when he was interviewing for and to do the meat cutter thing, and eventually, like, he's working at an Air Force base now, basically cutting meat for their commissary. But I said, if anybody says to you, hey, does anybody want to do this? You say yes.
Yes.
You just say yes. And because, one, you're going to find that nowadays, not a lot of people are saying yes. So you will stand out, and they'll start looking at you. And he's been getting promotions and that whole thing. And look, the other thing is, dude, you got a government job. As long as you don't royally screw this up, you're good.
Yeah.
Like, just hang in. Yeah. So,
as someone who has worked for the government, that is unbelievably true.
Yep.
And you can say yes to everything until you can say no some more. Like, get where you want, and then start picking and choosing. Build that reputation of like the person who's willing to do it when it needs done. Really I just tell people the Mr. Rogers keys to success. Number 1, be kind. Number 2, be kind. Number 3, be kind. It's really all it takes, and you'll be fine. Like, know what you're doing to some degree, but be great to work with.
Yes.
We have gone into career advice beyond content creation.
That's the other thing about Wise and Nerdy. We go off on these tangents.
We have a lot of wisdom to share. I mean, that's what the name of the game is.
That's right. Well, before we head off, Steven, where can they find you?
You can find me over on I'm hanging out on Blue Sky these days instead of the site formerly known as Twitter. Steve H&H there. You can also just go to Linktree, linktr.ee. How do we say that? I still haven't figured it out.
Linktree/Steve H&H.
Linktree/Steve H&H is where you can find all the links. Monday nights I do a show called Those Were the Days, a podcast about classic television that I do with my wonderful friends Amy Frost, Stevie Travis, and Audie Norman. We have an absolute blast talking about old TV. So join us there. Our most recent episode was on a show called He Can't Remember. He stalled until, when I get off the show, I can't remember what my show was about. Red Green Show. We did the Red Green Show this past Monday. It was flipping fantastic. So I do that, and then I do horseshoes and hand grenades with my sister-in-law, Smash You When the Stars Align. We're planning on doing that tomorrow night, but you can find all that twitch.tv/2dorkstv.
All right. And that is the show.
Follow Follow these nerdy dads on social media. Charles at Rock God of Podcasting, Joe at Joseph_Ard. Check out the website, wiseandnerdy.com. And as always, they may not be your father, but they'll always be your daddy.
And VO by Kurt everywhere.